Something was very wrong in that hospital. I grew up in Maplewood, Pennsylvania, a small town where everyone knew each other. My dad was a mechanic, and my mom ran the only grocery store in town. Life was simple, and we didn't have much, but it was enough. As a kid, I was curious, always exploring the woods or listening to the ghost stories the old folks would tell. Haunted houses, creatures in the woods. I loved hearing them, but I never really believed any of it. In my early 20s, I took a job as a night security guard at St. Mary's Hospital in the city. The building was old, dating back to the early 1900s, with its own history. The walls seemed to whisper, and sometimes, late at night, you'd hear strange noises echoing through the empty halls. I shrugged it off as just the wind or my imagination. Most nights were uneventful. I'd walk the dimly lit corridors, checking doors, making sure everything was locked up. The place had a way of playing tricks on your mind, though. Shadows seemed to move when you weren't looking, and sometimes I'd hear faint whispers, but I always ignored them. Then came the night that changed everything. It was cold and rainy, the wind howling as I made my rounds. I heard a faint noise coming from the deserted east wing of the hospital. That part of the building hadn't been used in years. I figured it was just the wind, but as I got closer, I realized it was something else. Footsteps, slow and dragging. My heart pounded, but I told myself it was probably just a homeless person who'd snuck inside. I followed the noise down the hallway, my flashlight barely cutting through the darkness. The air grew colder, and there was this awful smell, like something rotten. When I turned the corner, I saw her. She was standing at the end of the hallway, her back to me, wearing a hospital gown. But her legs, they were bent backward, twisted in a way that shouldn't have been possible. I froze, my heart in my throat. I thought it was a trick of the light, but then she turned around. Her eyes were black, completely black, like there was nothing there but darkness. Her smile was twisted, unnatural, and the way she moved, it wasn't a walk, but a run, her twisted legs carrying her faster than anything human should be able to move. I didn't think, I just ran. I could hear her behind me, those awful legs slapping against the floor, each step sounding like bones breaking. The lights flickered above me, and I could feel her getting closer, her breath cold against my neck. I wanted to look back, but I knew if I did, I wouldn't make it. I ran faster than I thought possible, racing toward the main entrance. Just as I reached the doors, I heard a scream, a blood-curdling scream that echoed through the hallway. I don't know if it was her or me, but it was enough to push me through those doors and out into the cold night. The moment I crossed the threshold, everything went silent. The footsteps stopped, the lights stopped flickering, and the cold, oppressive feeling vanished. I stood there, gasping for breath, staring back at the hospital. She was gone, but I knew she was still there, lurking in the shadows. I quit the next morning, packed up, and went back to Maplewood. I never told anyone what happened that night. Who would believe me? But I still feel her eyes on me, like she's watching, waiting. I stay away from the city, especially hospitals. But sometimes, when the wind howls just right, or when I'm alone at night, I think about her, about what I saw, and how close I came to never making it out of that hospital. And I wonder if she's still there, haunting those halls, waiting for the next poor soul to cross her path.